All right. So we are at Gooden Automotive and Restoration here in good old Newark, Ohio, and I've got a treat for you. These guys have been working on a super cool triple black Hemi Coronet. This thing's got a crazy story, and we're gonna get into it right now. All right, so I'm here with Aaron, and you might remember him from previous episodes of the Boggs Stable, which is awesome stuff. And I got to talking to Aaron, and he let me know about this little beast that he was restoring, kind of telling the story behind it. And I was like, he goes, well, you want to see the car? I'm like, well, of course, as a Pope wear a funny hat, of course I want to see this car and kind of get the story behind it. And actually what you're going to get to see is we're going to unveil it to the people that have been a part of this car. It's a wild story. We'll actually link to where, Aaron, you guys legit pulled this out of a barn, didn't you?
Absolutely, down in Lucasville, Ohio.
Which my dad's from Lucasville, went to college down there, so that again, it makes it an interesting tie-in.
Small world.
Yeah, it's a real small world. So kind of talk about, 5,000 feet. We'll link to the video that's a little bit more in detail. Kind of give me the synopsis of how all that went down, what happened, the ownership of the car and stuff like that.
Well, I love this collector car world because half of them say there's no barn finds left, and then the other half are the ones out there finding them. And so we got a call about 2 cars that were in a barn, hadn't been started in 10 years. When you get calls like this, your heart starts racing. You're like, is it believable? It's worth the hunt. And so I just jumped in the truck, went down to Lucasville, Ohio, and sure enough, a 69 Coronet RT Hemi car and a 70 FY1 Coronet RT 440 sitting in a barn, had not been started in 10 years. And Brian, my favorite part of all this was the amount of mouse poop that had found every square inch of these cars.
That's the combat hazard of barn finds, right?
It's great. I love it.
So who used to own the car, and then who owns it now? Kind of what's going on with that?
Yeah, so Ron Powell was the owner of these cars. He had given them to his son, but he was a big early guy, Mopar Nationals, even when it was over in Indianapolis, had taken these cars. When I walked into his barn, he had legitimately 250 trophies from shows. And so he was as proud of those trophies as he was the cars, and was showing me the memories, had books of going to Mopar Nationals and driving this particular car there. Was probably mid-'80s when he started that process. And so just age and getting out of that, he let them sit, and we pulled them out of those barn.
So we'll bring Larry and Dustin, and they can start talking and whatnot. You can go grab them. Yeah. And then the cool thing is I'm going to link the story about what the video you shot, because I saw on your website there's a whole video behind the how should we put this, the extrication of these vehicles, right? Yeah.
Well, I think, Brian, the thing that people want to see is you hear about these barn finds, and maybe you get a picture, but I wanted to chronicle the story because the people behind these cars are as important to me, if not more, than just the car. So we did a video about that, pulled it out. I had 90 feet of my winch spooled to get these cars out of this barn. But then, I've have tremendous relationships, and finding somebody to restore a car like this is really difficult these days. And so Larry and Dustin from Gooden Auto Repair and Restoration, they're my guys. They take great care of this. And so they've been working on it for just about a year, I think.
Nice. Now, Larry and Dustin, come on in here. I've been BSing with them before they came over. And this is cool because, you walk into the shop, they got a old school Chevy over there. I mean, this is like one of those cool kind of like fun shops you walk into. It's got that it's hard to describe, like that smell, like just a restoration smell. And you guys have really been kind of grinding away on this car. I guess, Larry, tell me about the condition of the car when it showed up to your shop. Or were you warned about the condition, or was it just a fun surprise?
Oh, it was a fun surprise. Especially when he dropped it off, it was a fun surprise.
What enters your mind when you score one of these fun surprises and you're looking at that?
Well, especially a car like this, it was in such bad shape underneath the hood, underneath the body, the underneath side of this car, everything. The best part of the car was it was already painted. It's going to need a lot of buffing to get some of the scratches and take care of some of the things on the exterior of the car. But basically, underneath the hood of this car was a complete disaster. Whoever started on this car years ago decided to put rhino liner underneath the hood of it. And
Why?
why? We don't know. Dustin spent almost a week and a half grinding with wire wheels, everything, getting it all off and redoing underneath the hood and everything and all. And we just went through different stages of redoing this car to the point of, you know, all the underneath of the car, most of it's all been powder coated, which I do a lot of my cars doing restoration work. We use a lot of powder coating pieces on these cars, which is a good high quality, you know, everything on it makes the car last a lot longer. The motor on this car had to be completely stripped because it had about 3 or 4 different layers of paint on it.
Oh.
So, I mean, we went from almost a basket case to where we are now. But it's just been one of the hardest and worst ones I think we've ever done so far. But we made it through it. We're back to the point of, you know, the car's a beautiful piece now.
I was going to say, like, what you guys have done to this car is nothing short of amazing. And it's awesome that you know, we're saving more than we're crushing. Let's put it that way. And it's great to see this car, you know. Dustin, what's it been like being a part of, you know, a restoration like this?
It's challenging sometimes. I mean, just finding stuff for it. You know, a lot of the stuff anymore they don't make for it, so you got to spend time searching for it and finding it.
You know, and as the video is going on, we'll have B-roll of, you know, the beautiful work you guys have done and whatnot, you know, and then we're going to get to see the owner's reaction. But, you know, my question for you guys is when this car gets unveiled and the world gets to see the final, you know, portion of work, what's going to be your favorite part of the restoration that you want people to really kind of pay attention to? I know it's the wild question. You know, it's always asked, what's your favorite part of the car, essentially, that people are really going to dig?
Well, basically, you know, it is a 426 Hemi car, and you know, we had a lot of stress, a lot of things doing on the car, getting parts and everything all to complete the car was a challenge. And you know, the 426 Hemi underneath the hood of this car basically speaks for itself, basically what it is.
Larry, Dustin, you got a favorite part?
Driving it when it's finished.
Nice. Next, you know, in the racing world, we always say you don't take a car to the track until it can do a burnout. Is this car going to see a burnout before it goes? You can let the owner do the first burnout.
I'd probably do a burnout.
Nice. That is the correct answer. Well, thanks, guys, for your time. The next time we see this car, it is going to be unveiled at the Piston Power Show. So we'll do a little bit of a fun transition here, and we'll see you then.